Liam, what really stood out to me, man, was your size. And this is in a very, very good way. Okay. You don't see a lot of guys your size playing linebacker, but then also playing D end. Okay. And it kind of gives you a two-way go for how you kind of want to attack recruiting, how you want to communicate to coaches, what you want to do, and everything else. Okay. Now, that's a good thing. We'll talk about that a little bit here in one minute. All right. Now, my suggestions for your highlight video are the following. You can add an information slide at the beginning of your video. I know you have one. We need to tweak it just a little bit and add some stuff to it. Okay. The best way to go about making one is to go on Canva. All right, this is free. You'll go on there. You'll put all the information of your name, school, graduation year, position, height and weight, X account, email, and phone number. Okay, like I said, I know you got some of that information, but make sure we add some of that other information on there. But put that information on the left, put a picture of you on the right, download that, and then upload that to the very first thing on your highlight video. Okay, now we want that other information on there so because a college coach's time is so short and valuable. That way, when he pulls up your film, all the information he needs is right there for you. Okay, how he can follow you on X, how he can send you a questionnaire via email, how he can get in contact with you via phone number. Okay, because personally, and I've had to do this, if I have to track down that information, and same thing with these coaches, they're going to pass on a kid. They're watching 60 to 100 kids in a day, trying to watch as many kids as they can, get real good evaluations, and they just don't have the time to go find that information. Okay, so we want to make it as easy as on them as possible. All right, next, removing play/non-highlights. The only one I've got for you here is the one right here at the 59-second mark. Okay, now. The only reason I say remove it, okay, not a bad play whatsoever, it's because at the 114 mark, that's a double clip, all right? You've got that same clip on there, all right? And so it's just a different angle, all right? So we want to go ahead and take that one out. Just with the being rainy and stuff like that, you can kind of see the other one a little bit better, and they like seeing the end zone view sometimes with linebacker stuff, so that's why I leave that one on there. Next. Remove all the captions that say like sacks, forced fumbles, and everything on there, okay? I've got all those timestamps listed here. All right, so remove all of that, and then remove the music as well, okay? Now, the reason we want to do that stuff is because we don't want to cause any distractions that's going to teeter that recruiter from evaluating your film. All right, he's in a zone just like you when you're playing. You're locked in. They're sitting in a dark room, lamp on. They're in a zone with their music. Okay, and we don't want to have anything that's going to throw them off watching your film compared to watching other guys' films. Okay, that's why we want to take that stuff out and kind of go from there. All right, next, going to the order of plays. Okay, and this is going to tie into our sequence, all right, and I'll kind of discuss this because this is a little bit different. Usually we'll go offense, defense, or special teams, okay, but for yours, we're going to go defense, defense, special teams, okay, so how I would set this up, okay, and if you want to change this is your preference on, or you can make it both ways, all right, however you want to do it, go linebacker clips first, D-end clips second, and then your special teams at the end, okay, now, the reason being you want to do that, so say linebacker coaches watch your film, boom, he pulls it up, watches the information slide, bam, he can watch that through to the 248 mark as an example. Okay. Now, he watches to the 248 mark. All right. Now the DN coach pulls it up. Boom, 249 mark. He can watch till the end. Okay. It makes it easier for them to not have to jump around. They can really focus on you at one position, everything. All right. Now, with that being said, how doing the sequence of plays, okay, I've timestamped all your linebacker stuff. All right, now, and then your special teams clip, the one I put first, okay? What we want to do here is you want to put your best plays within each of these sequences, all right, or within these sections within each sequence, okay? So I've got turnovers, interceptions, forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, sacks, TFLs, PBUs, and the remaining defensive highlights as a linebacker, okay? Then you'll go in and then you'll do your DN stuff. If you got any turnovers, forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, sacks, TFLs, remaining defensive highlights, and then add your special teams clips after that, okay? So with that being said, the reason we want to put our best clips at the beginning of each section is because we want to capture that coach's attention early, okay, to keep him watching. All right, so like here, for your TFLs, I think the 114 is your best one, then the 52-second mark, okay, and then the 222 mark. And I know you've got more after that, and you just keep going from there, okay? So that's how we kind of want to sort that stuff through. All right, same thing when you got some of your DN stuff, okay, some of your TFLs and pressures and stuff like that, all right? That's kind of how we want to organize that stuff, all right? Because like I said, they're watching 60 to 100 kids in a day. We got to put the best ones we can up there. All right. So on your remaining defensive highlights, though, we've kind of talked about this stuff. That's kind of easy to self-explanatory. The remaining defensive highlights, though, are more kind of the things that are not necessarily those statistical type deals, okay, but still good play that showcases what you can do. Same thing for the defensive line. All right. So to go over this, the 25-second mark, all right, we will show, so boom, take off the forced fumble caption there, okay. Great job. Good pursuit. Having to drop into coverage, scramble. Way to rip it right there. Fantastic job there. Okay, that's picture perfect right there. Okay, that's what we're going to start off with. Then go to your 4-second mark. All right, going to the sack. Okay, I also know you had another forced fumble if I remember correctly. Okay, boom, your sack. Good watching, having to cut that in the rolling quarterback. Okay, fantastic job there. Great eyes, good posture, good tempo, and everything else. Okay, next, going to your TFLs at the 114 mark. All right, this one here, like I said, kind of that end zone view. Boom, seeing the jet sweep, reading it, being able to come up and make a stop. And when you can read that thing and you're reading your guards and everything else as a linebacker, that makes a big deal, being able to stop that jet sweep from getting outside. Okay, then you go drop that back to the 52-second mark. Okay, boom, this one here. Great job filling the hole, finishing the play. All right, then go to the 222 mark. All right, and the reason on here, and this is where I'm kind of showing these things because we're showing for different reasons. Okay, because I know you got something like this. Boom, being able to take on a block, then come up and make a goal line stand. Those are things that they're going to look at of how you do. Right? How do you do block destruction? How do you fill gaps? How do you read things? Okay, that's what they're going to look at. All right. Then go in with your PBUs. Okay, and the remaining defensive highlight. So the 18-second mark here. Okay, boom. We kind of got it. We didn't necessarily stop them at the line of scrimmage, and they kind of got a few yards. That's where that type of stuff, where you're getting over the top, maybe getting a few yard gain or something like that. Those are the type of things we want in the remaining defensive highlights as a linebacker. Okay, now all that, like I said, put all those clips first. Then you go to your turnovers, your sacks, your TFLs, and your remaining defensive highlights for your DN stuff. Now on your DN stuff, I know you had some of those defensive pressures or like the forced interception, that type of thing. That's where you want to put those remaining defensive highlights within that section there, okay? Because it's not necessarily a stat, but it's a good thing that still showcases what you can do, how you're getting off the line of scrimmage, how you're getting by somebody, how you're closing in on the quarterback, okay? Then follow that up with your special team stuff, all right? So like I said, a little bit different how we're going to organize this highlight, but you, with your size and everything, you kind of have a two-way go, whichever way you want to kind of attack this deal. And it kind of gives the coaches a two-way go of how they want to approach you as well. Some coaches might see you as a DN, some coaches might see you as a linebacker. Okay, but giving them that option really helps out. But kind of clearing that up of put one section here, one section here, all right, but make it one film is really going to help you out, all right? So add that information for your information slide, remove that one play, the double highlight, remove the captions and the music, all right, change up the order and the sequence of things, how it's going to flow, and overall this will provide a more dynamic highlight video for college coaches. Now, after going over the game film feedback, let's take a look at what divisions you should target. Okay, I'm basing this off the most recent highlight video, which is exactly what college coaches are going to do and where the athlete can receive a scholarship right now, okay? So basing this off a few things. First thing is your graduation year. You've got a couple years, use this to your advantage. Okay, kind of see how do you want to go attack this thing you're recruiting wise. Maybe some coaches want you one way, maybe some want you the other. Work knowing how we need to communicate, what we can improve it upon for the linebacker position, what we're going to talk about, okay, and how we need to go attack recruitment and camps and everything. All right. Next, they're going to look at your size, your foot speed, your flexibility, and your power and strength as a linebacker. Okay, but here's what I'm also going to say. I want you to understand with all this stuff, for me, this is a current evaluation off the film we just went over, opposed to a projected evaluation. Okay, like I said, leave that up to those college coaches. They might project you at something else rather than one position or the other. That's why we're going to give them the option. Okay, that kind of gives you the flexibility with your size and everything else. All right. Now, with that being said, the levels you should look at today for a scholarship are the upper D3, okay, to the upper NAI levels. All right. Now, you may start getting interest from these college coaches at these levels, and if not, you need to start the communication process with them through emailing them, calling them. Okay, and really the biggest thing is your graduation year. All right, having that couple years, not necessarily being the time yet. That's really where we're kind of getting at. All right, but make sure you're marketing and bring yourself in the correct way right now. You need to start getting your name out there through social media. Okay, being an underclassman, you need to start getting that stuff out there now and huge, so the coaches can see you. Make sure you're following these coaches on X, and make sure you're DMing these coaches. Okay, send them your updated highlight video. All right, that's going to be big for you. Okay, and then you got prospect camps coming up. That's starting right now. All right. You need to make sure you're going to the right ones, okay? Maybe not necessarily going to those mega camps because there's 1,000 different kids there and you kind of get lost in the shuffle sometimes. When I was a college recruiter, all right, it's difficult to really get a true evaluation on a kid because you got to watch them real quick because then you got to go watch other kids, okay? But if you kind of go to these smaller school, or it's not smaller school, but smaller groups like to where there's not as many schools or just a one-on-one camp, that's where you can get a better evaluation from a coach, okay? You can introduce yourself better. You can develop a relationship better. They're going to see your size in person. They're going to see you and notice things and maybe, hey, I want you to go try this drill or that drill, do these DN things, do that linebacker deal, okay? They're going to look at that stuff, okay? But that's where that's going to help you out because then when you send them that midseason highlight, they're going to have that relationship and they're going to know who they're watching because of it, right? But here's the deal. How can we also go attack these levels and get better, okay? My suggestion to improve your game that translates to college football and possibly a higher division are the following, okay? First thing is strength training, all right? Got to add, making sure we're adding good weight, okay? Whether that's D-end or linebacker, okay? Developing more explosion and power. All right, always got to do that with squats, quick twitch stuff, single leg stuff, because when you get to the college game, you're going to meet a running back in the hole. You got to deliver the blow, okay? Because everybody's going to be bigger, faster, and stronger when you get to college. Flexibility, this is going to be huge. Pre and post training stretching. You guys don't do this as a team. You got to do it on your own. All right, it's going to also help improve your pad level against the run or the pass. It's also going to help prevent injury because your best ability is your availability. If you're dinged up and nicked up over these next couple of years, that's going to hurt your chance of video. So then hurt your chance of an offer. All right, you take that to the college side, you're dinged up and nicked up. That hurts your chance on the depth chart. So you got to make sure you're taking care of your body. Next is your foot speed. Dot drills, ladder drills, cone and bag drills, working on linebacker drills, being able to get out of the drop, come up, make a tackle like you showed, okay? Got to be able to get those hips open up more to read and react and get all your power heading downhill, okay? Just that physicality side. We talked about it a little bit, continuing linebacker technique development and block destruction. Coaches got to know who can get off the block and come up and make a tackle, Okay, also ties back to your strength and physicality. Agility, be able to get over the top of the box. Okay, backside gap on an outside zone or pin and pull. Okay, but at the same time, you got to react to play action, drop that hook curl and coverage. All right, development of coverage in man versus zone. Okay, continue to develop these techniques. All right, because you get to college, one half might be running man, one half might be running zone. You might be banjoing playing man on the running back depending on which way he's going. Okay, you got to keep working on all that stuff because they've got so many different coverages that they're going to throw at you. And then lastly, throwing this in here too, long speed. Okay, for linebacker side. All right, that's going to come through track work. If you're not track, you got to be running track. That's going to help with that speed training because if a running back's got a deep ball, you got to stay with them. And in today's game, linebacker coaches are looking for guys who can run with a fast tight end or running back, but then also come up and deliver a blow and make a TFL. Okay, so but the deal is these improvements are what a linebacker college coach will look at. Okay, so double down, do all these things, hit it hard. All right, if it translates to your video, this can help you level up your evaluation and possibly have an opportunity at that D2 level. Okay, and I think it could be a mid to high D2 level depending on how things translate. All right, but Liam, at the end of the day, man, everything's really going to come down to your individual work, your outreach, as well as your marketing on social media. Okay, that's going to be big for you, and your relationship building with college coaches, which is why the next step is your athlete interview. You're going to get an interview with the coach and get coached on your communication and your interviewing skills, which is critical for the conversations you're about to start having with college coaches. So make sure you watch the video beforehand, be ready to go. If you have any questions, we'll be able to answer them at the end of the interview. Thank you.